Hello and welcome to Life Sciences Knowledge Hub, your one-stop shop for industry insights and analysis. I'm David, and today I'm joined by Catherine Pickering from iOnctura. Hello, Catherine. Thank you very much for joining us. Give us a bit of background on iOnctura, please.
Sure. Good morning, David. It's nice to be here this morning. A little bit on iOnctura. So we were founded way back in 2017. Actually, we're nearly 4 years old. And actually, the company was founded by myself and my partner Lars van der Veen, the Chief Operating Officer, and actually it was built out of my role at Merck. So I was working at Merck Germany for many years, and I came up with the concept of building iOnctura. And with the help actually of Merck and from Cancer Research UK in London, that was how iOnctura was founded.
And what is the market opportunity that you're looking to seize then with iOnctura?
Well, I guess the clue is in the name. So we have built over the last 4 years a very strong pipeline of anti-cancer programs. And these target mechanisms at the tumor-stroma immune interface. And what do I mean by that? I mean that the tumor itself builds strategies around it and mechanisms around itself that cause the tumor to evade the immune system or to evade chemo and immunotherapies. And what we're doing at iOnctura is bringing mechanisms and combining different mechanisms to really fight the tumor in the way that it's evading the immune system and chemo immunotherapies.
Really interesting. Let's go back to iOnctura and how it started. Like you say, started by yourself and your partner only a few years ago. How did you begin that? What was the funding picture? What was the investment picture then to give iOnctura that kickstart?
So actually, I was very lucky in those days because I was very close. And in fact, at Merck, the business development licensing team was in the same function as the venture group. So Merck has a venture team called M Ventures. And actually, after I had come up with the concept of iOnctura, I talked that through with the head of the team there at M Ventures, and he helped me to really shape an investment thesis. And I think that's really important, certainly when you're looking for seed investments, is to have a strong investment thesis it is music to investors' ears, and certainly with my background in licensing and business development in big pharma, I could see certain areas that were needed, but there are always nuances that you don't see that investors have seen many times. So that really helped me to shape iOnctura in the early days, and of course then attract seed investment from M Ventures.
Really interesting, and I'm sure that's the kind of insight I think that will be very interesting to any of our viewers who maybe looking on embarking on a similar journey. They have an idea for a business, for an operation, but how on earth do you bootstrap that? And it sounds as though you had some great connections already, but being able to think along the lines of what the investors are already receiving, how to differentiate yourself, how to present your pitch is really key to being able to tell your story and to sell your vision, I guess.
Absolutely. And I would say, at least I talk from my own experiences, that I'm now in our third fundraise. And actually every fundraise the hardest bit is making sure that your story is crystal clear, that your vision is crystal clear. And actually, sometimes your vision isn't crystal clear, but in science, things change. It's the natural course, and the external environment changes, the internal environment changes. However, you have to differentiate yourself. You have to hook these investors to come in and look further. So I think that's one of the very key learning points for me as a CEO, and probably will continue, is making sure that you tell that you have the right investment thesis and the right story and you manage to differentiate yourself from thousands of other companies who are also trying to gain the attention of these key investors. That's really the one of the most important things in the fundraising process.
I've worked in a startup as well, with a successful exit at the end of it, in a different sector. But one point that you mentioned there really struck home, is that things change, and as bold as you can be about your initial vision, about your idea, and you kind of need to commit to it. What you said there is that recognition that things change, the science changes, that you may need to change direction in order to further your business. And it may look quite a different direction from where you initially set off. But understanding that, trusting that, and then going with it, that sounds like it's a key skill here.
Yes, absolutely. And I think as a small company, you have to be really careful. So yes, things change. And I think you have a path. And I do think you have to remain very focused on your path. And you do have to look at the external environment and things changing. But equally, you can't flip-flop. And that's really easy to do as a small company. And as the CEO of a small company, it's very easy, just like that, to change the direction of your whole team. Whereas, of course, coming from a big pharma background, decisions take time to implement, and you have to go through various committees, and your hypotheses are acid tested on a regular basis. Until then, you change direction. And I think it's good to have the middle ground here, where you have to be very careful that you don't panic and change the course of your company because of things that are happening around you. And actually, I think one example of that is the pandemic. As a company, for us, I remember one of my board members saying to me, and this was before any of the lockdowns in the world, or in Europe certainly, and our lead clinical trial site was in Italy. And one of my investors said, what happens, for instance, if there's a global pandemic and Italy goes into lockdown? What's your strategy? And it was like, oh, come on, that's never going to happen. And then, of course, 3 weeks later. But I think we stayed very focused. We didn't panic. And actually, our clinical trial is just coming to an end, and it went, faster than we'd anticipated. Even though there was a wobbly moment where it's like, should we open another country? Should we open more sites? But no, we stayed on script, and I think it's paid off. And yeah, I think that's important as for a small company as well, to stay very focused.
And in terms of that focus, in terms of that direction, how are you at iOnctura looking to drive forward your business? What's the state of your pipeline looking like at the moment?
So we have so when we started iOnctura, which was 4 years ago, we had 4 assets, and all of the assets were preclinical, and 3 of them were in discovery. 1 was preclinical, and now we have 2 clinical stage programs. Tackling these hard to treat tumor types that are burdened by this kind of dysregulated stroma. So fibrotic pancreatic cancer, uveal melanoma, those cancers that are really hard to treat because of the immune system and the stroma. We are just finishing phase 1 for our lead program, and we're just entering phase 1 for our second program. So things are going well for us, and now we're in the middle of a fundraise to really continue to build our clinical plans and continue to build the company. And yeah, I have all fingers crossed that we'll be in a good position by the end of the summer to launch, a rather ambitious phase 2 for our lead program, and move into pancreatic cancer with our second program.
The future sounds bright. Listen, thank you very much indeed for sharing your journey today. I really appreciate you sharing some of your insights and some of your experiences on launching iOnctura and how you've been able to get it to where it is so far. Exciting times right now for you, and sharing about what's coming up. Thank you very much indeed. I wish you all the very best of success, Catherine.
Thanks a lot.